Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good
Can we
morning,
start?
sir.
Sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. Respond. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Can you start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. I'm waiting for your response. I thought nobody there. Well, today we are going to start another important part in our diploma in credit management. That is the preparation of project report. So first, I am going to discuss the theory part of it, that is what is a project report or a feasibility report, where the banks are looking for finance customers, business customers. And it can be a small SME or a large scale business. Any business, there should be certain plan for the future should be there. Sometimes you may find customers, some customers, they are having their plans, but it is not documented. What we try to do is we put a document for future reference, our future reference, and also for approval of the high management. So in our part, our bank part, we prepare project reports. We are not preparing project reports. We scrutinize the project reports prepared by the customers. Sometimes we may have to prepare project report on behalf of a customer. So what are the information to be incorporated when we present it for your management, high management, for your approval of the proposal? So let's see what are the basic information to be incorporated in a project report or a feasibility study. The project report is an essential building block for completion of a project. Right? To project or a business or whatever it is, there should be a certain plan. There should be a plan. Any building, no, whatever it is. If you're conducting a program, if you're conducting a manufacturing process, there should be a plan. How to manufacture, when to manufacture, what is the process, how long it will take, what are the stages, what are the steps. This has to be put into a document. That's called a project report. The report must be prepared carefully and with sufficient details to ensure approval, appraisal, and finally funding from the financial institution. We expect three things when you go through the project report. Number one is for approval. When you prepare project report is sent for the management, it has to be approved by the management. To approve the management, there should be sufficient information should be provided. The most of the instances of project proposals go to the management and return back due to lack of information. So what are this information? That's what we are going to study today in the project report. To get the approval of the management, what type of information to be provided. Right? Then appraisal of the proposal, viability of the proposal. Whether the proposal is viable, can be rolled out, implemented, and whether can be achieved expected task, expected objectives of the customer. Because the customer's business is our business. Customer success, our business is success. We have more opportunity for dealing with the customers. The customer fails, it's our failure. So we have to bankers keep in mind, lenders, that always see that customers' business is appraised carefully for the viability. And finally, we decide whether to finance or not. So these are three major objectives in preparing a project report. Therefore, a project report must be accompanied by an executive summary. That means, in the nutshell, what is executive summary mean? Entire project analysis put into a small summary form in the first page. So we'll discuss later that part. Okay. What is to be kept in mind while preparing a project report? What's the project report? We have to keep in mind what is project report, what are you going to do? Is it a statement of information? No. It's an analysis of information. We collect information, data, and analyze the data, and finally come to conclusion. Whether the project is viable, whether we can lend or not. That's the final decision. How to prepare a project report? So that's what we are going to discuss. What are the important factors to be incorporated in the project report or the structure of the project report? What all points to be covered in the project report? What are information must be produced? Sometimes you may find certain project reports I have seen in the last sessions, last semesters, with the project report. A lot of material are there, but it is not addressed to the point. It is not addressed to the project proposal. Sometimes downloaded from the different websites and filling up the pages. So that is not a project report. Keep in mind, you are preparing this project report for your management. So management does not have time to read all these things. That's why the executive summary is very important. Last to the executive summary, the management can decide whether to go ahead with that or to throw it off. So in the executive summary, you should give the point form in your findings and your conclusions. Any detail, the management can go into the pages, in internal pages, and try to find out. Okay. Whether any consultant or auditor has to be contracted to prepare a project report. There are a lot of professionals are there preparing these project reports. Even in the banks, there are certain senior officers. They prepare project report on behalf of their customers. Then there are outside specialists, consultants are there. They are preparing project reports. How to express the bank manager about the proposed project which you are require financial assistance. That is, convince the management. The project report, what you are trying to do is convince the management, the bank manager or the management about the project and its viability. So it has to be comprehensive one, where management can come to conclusion whether to grant the facility or not, whether to continue with the business with the customer or not. That's the final option. Okay. The feasibility report can be used by the entrepreneur in following areas. A businessman, any businessman, entrepreneur, any businessman can use this feasibility report to meet stipulated requirement of the financial institution. Mostly, these feasibility reports are prepared to give to financial institutions to borrow funds and meet the stipulated requirement. What are the information needed by the lending institution, banks and other lenders? For instance, banks are the financial institutions giving loans to start business. Executives demand a feasibility report of the proposed investment. So especially today's environment, there are a lot of demand for SME sector lending, small and medium sector lending. The government is encouraging because it's a thriving sector of the economy, and there are a lot of so-called central bank reports. There's a decline of lending credit in the banking sector, which will affect the profitability of the banks. So the opportunities are very wide, very much wider in the SME sector. So therefore, SME sector are mostly we can look for lending, and most of the SME sector customers are not familiar with this type of report writing. So we have to assist them to prepare this project feasibility report, giving information, looking at that, scrutinizing their proposals. Or else they can ask for a professional institution to prepare the project report and submit to you. Keep in mind, very important thing, whenever a professional body prepares a feasibility report, always there will be a rosary picture. They are hidden the risk factor and other important factors they hide. Where the project is facing for risk elements, any not viable areas. Most of the project reports by which the customer brings to us, they hide this information. Therefore, the bankers should know how to evaluate a feasibility report. How to go through the feasibility report, first check the information given by the customer and its viability, and we come to the conclusion now. Therefore, whenever customer uses a feasibility report, it doesn't mean we have to accept as it is. No. It is important for the banker to analyze the information given by the customer with the certain internal and external factors. Then to provide basic information for effective decision making with respect to the proposed investment by showing the market potentials, technical and financial implications of the proposed opportunities. The feasibility report enables the entrepreneur to accept or reject the project report. Right? So there are external factors. The market potentialities is the most important part in a project report, analyzing the market. We also looking is in very broadly because the sales are our recovery source. Customers' market potential means improving the sales, increasing the sales, and it will increase the profit, which is we are looking for because that is our recovery mode, recovery strategy, what do you call source of recovery. Then to manufacture and sell a product, technical knowledge of the customer, the technical know-how whether he is having. The technical know-how whether can be used, how to improve the technical know-how to meet the demands of the customers. And finally, what are the financial implications? What are financial shortcomings? What are the shortcomings in which areas? How long shortcoming will be there? What type of shortcoming? Based on that, the bank has to prepare our what you call limit application or approving strategy.
Korean.
Right? Mic off karaganda. Okay, right. So finance implication to propose opportunities. To achieve these opportunities of business expansion or new business venture, profitability venture, what are the financial needs of the customer? Then the finance implication lead banks to structure a facility. Structure a facility for the customer. It is not a loan. It's a series of products. We offer banks offering series of products to meet customers' requirements. So that's what we are looking into. To assist the entrepreneur in developing future plans for the organization, this report will help entrepreneur himself. He himself getting an idea about his business. What is his future look like in his business? So he can develop his own plans in their organizations to serve as a basis of measuring a performance proposed business. So once you prepare a project report, and it is for the future, it will be prepared with the measuring devices of the performance. Right? Measuring devices are the profitability, certain ratios, certain output levels, maintenance of certain assets and liabilities, the ratios, relationship between those two are some of the measuring performance measurement devices. So we use these devices to analyze the performance, how best the customer is in the business. So the feasibility report gives us this opening. Right? Now, most of the instances, what we have to keep in mind, understand that we are granting a facility to the customer to be recovered in the unknown, uncertain future. Okay? We have to recover in the unknown, uncertain future. Therefore, the feasibility report helps us to do predictions, to do assumptions. We call it called the potentials. We analyze and we prepare a future plan. It's called a budget, or we call project proposal. Future in cash flows based on the information on the past. Based on information of the past, we prepare for a future requirements of the customer. And their cash flow and recovery pattern and period of loan all will be decided on that. Therefore, we can do a measuring, use those as a tool for a standard of achievement of the customer. We can compare with the actual position and the assumed position or projected position. And if there is variation, we can do corrective measures. We can take corrective measures. We can look into the reasons for any variations, and we can rectify those whatever shortcomings. Any strengths we can more strengthen. Any shortcomings we have to overcome the shortcomings and try to drive the customers to achieve their expected performance level. So the feasibility report will help us to monitor these customers' affairs. It will, for us, for a bankers, is a measuring device. What should be included in the project report for a bank loan? Now is a store to the customers. What are the things to be included in the project report to get a bank loan? Objective is to get project bank loan meeting banking standards requirements. Therefore, the objective of preparing, main objective of preparing feasibility report is to obtain a bank facility, bank loan. Therefore, there can be instances customer may mislead the bank, giving false information. Customer may mislead the bank, giving false information, false data. So therefore, the duty of the lender, credit analysis, is to verify this information very carefully in in-depth analysis. In-depth analysis to verify the information, correctness of the information, justification of the information, and viability of the information. Okay, it is mandatory for a business to present the project report for a bank loan, including a business plan. Including a business plan, a strategical plan, then projected financials, that means projected cash flow, projected P&L, projected balance sheet for the future period. All this we discussed in the past lectures. In the viability study, using this information technique, whether project is viable or not. Technical analysis. The other part is giving the customers technical knowledge, know-how about the product and product process. Etc. for availing loans or funds from the bank and other financial institutions in order to meet the financial requirement of the business. So the objective of preparing this financial project report to get a bank loan. Right? So therefore, we have to be very carefully scrutinize the project reports whether customer have going to mislead us or any information whether it can be justified, it's viable or not. Okay. No one can motivate you if you are not willing to do yourself. No one can motivate you. That means you're a businessman. Nobody else can motivate a businessman to do business or improve their business. Unless otherwise, he himself has to start it. So banks are doing supportive part. Banks are motivating to customer. Customer, he himself should be self-motivated to do the business because bank is not going to do the business for the customer. Bank is not going to do the business for the customer. And the customer, he had to develop his own strategies and do the business, achieve his task. So bank is trying to help the customer to achieve his targets. Okay. Right, let's go to feasibility study or feasibility report or the project report. What are the components in a feasibility study? Right, in the broad manner to go through. A feasibility study is defined as an evaluation or analysis of a potential impact of proposed project or program. analyze, evaluate or analyze the potential impact, favorable or unfavorable, of the project or a program. It may be favorable, it may not be favorable. Once you analyze only, you can see whether it is viable or not. In a feasibility study conducted to assist the decision makers in determining whether or not implement the particular project or program. After a careful study of a project report, the feasibility study, bank can decide whether they are going along with this customer future lending or we are going to get rid of the customer. Project is not viable, we should not go ahead with that project. To know what is it, you have to do an analysis. So feasibility report is one of the instruments we can use for that. Okay. What is the impact? Potential impact. Always customer, when he prepare a project report, brings to us, I told you earlier also, he should try to show the rosary picture, beautiful picture of the project. It is when you're going reading the project report, you may impress very much. But that's a term in English. You have to read in between lines. In between line. That means what is inside that. Not the words, the sentence is given, but the implementation of this. What I mean inspired to you from that words. Sometimes it has been put on in the correct way. Sometimes you may find in one page the customer giving something, on the second page another different one. So that will indicate to you that when you're carefully reading, you may feel that there should be some sort of a connection between these two. But sometimes you may find customer may have taken isolated figures, isolated information and try to convince you. Okay, so feasibility report is prepared by the customer for to the bank or financial institution to decide this project is viable or not, whether the bank is accepting it for granting a facility or not, or going to reject it. Therefore, feasibility study has three basic components. To do study, first study is based on extensive research. For large businesses, large projects, this research is very important. Research about the market, research about the product, research about the customer behavior, with the customer's behavior in relation to the product. When a new product put into the market, it is very important to do analysis on customer research, whether the customer will accept that product or not. If not, the project is not viable. Then contain wide-ranging data. This is very, very important. Without information, you can just imaginarily, you cannot do a feasibility study. Most instances, the bankers, what they do a desktop analysis. They are not going out of their room, cubicle, do all this, do very nicely put in the words in their cubicles. No, they have to go out. External information has to be gathered, collected. Right? Should have clear supporting evidence. So when you get the data, information, it has to be supported with the evidences, clear evidences. Right? Now, for example, if the customer says in the feasibility report, I'm expecting expansion of market share by this percentage. Okay. To accept that, he should have supporting documents. So he had to say, this is the customer base, this is the segment of the customer is going to attract, and what is the strategy going to stack. It has to be documented. Supporting documents should be given. So it is very comprehensive. Okay. Why we should do feasibility study? Use focus to the project and outline alternatives. What are the focus on the project straight away, and what are the alternatives of doing that business? What are the alternatives? Now, for example, when you do a strategical analysis, we are not supposed to hang on only one, one strategical information. What are other related? If it is fails, what next? If it fails, what next? That already has to be there. So we can, when the customer can shift to the alternative, that first one is defaulted or not feasible, then the customer can shift to the second alternative. So there should be second or third alternative should be there. The first alternative is the best alternative. If it's not viable, achievable, the second and third alternatives are there. So we have to see by the bankers before granting facility, what are these alternatives they have. For example, customer wants to sell the product in a certain particular area, but that particular area is not responding to that product. So the customer should have alternative plan to target the product to a market where the customer will need that product. So divert the product or shift the market to that particular product. They projected to do in certain areas that is not viable. Without discontinuing the project, he can shift the product or project to other alternative methods. Okay. Narrows the business alternatives. So when they have business alternatives, the risk is narrowed down. If one is missing, they shift to others. Right? There should be a market for that. So for example, you see, if something, can you remember this happened? Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation was privatized. It was the government earlier, then it was privatized. When the insurance corporation was bought by a famous businessman, Hari Jawadhan, Stassa's group. Hari Jawadhan, Stassa's group, bought insurance corporation. And they developed going on. After some time, when the government changed, and the other government came, Vasudeva Nanayakara filed action in the courts. Vasudeva Nanayakara was minister of that particular government later on. And he filed action in the court saying that this transaction is invalid, therefore this particular business has to be returned back to the government. So the judgment was that. He got the judgment saying that Hari Jawadhan to return back the insurance corporation back to the government. So what Hari Jawadhan did? He didn't fail. He started alternative, the similar business in the alternative. So he started continental insurance instead of the insurance corporation. He had the experience, exposure, and he knows what is the market of insurance corporation. Everything he knows, and he shifts the business to another alternative continental insurance by his own Stassan group. Now this is what we call entrepreneurship. Right? So these type of examples, there are plenty of examples are there. When one product is, customers, one product is not in position to sell, they shift to another product, alternative product, and survive in the market. What we are seeing is whether customer having such strategical and technical knowledge and the planning. Identify reasons not to proceed. We cannot reject a customer's proposal straight away without any facts. Without any facts. There are certain facts what we look into are not practical sometimes. Now, there are certain reasons sometimes you may find the customer wants a certain facility. Right? The customer needs that facility and he asks for a proposal from the bank to go ahead with that project. But his financially analyzed, you may find customer is not earning profits. So you may sometimes make a reason that customer is not making profit. Therefore, you should not proceed with this project. But important part is not that. You are rejecting the facility, but should be acceptable and justifiable. If the customer asking this facility, right, and he cannot earn profit due to certain important reasons. Important reasons. If the customer wants a fresh facility to remove that obstacles to continue the business, then you can run that facility. This is what the analysis is important. So the feasibility study gives us this alternative and wider information, variety of information, where we can help the customers to come out from their difficult situations. Enhances the probability of sources by addressing and mitigating the factors early, and that could affect the project. Probability of success. If it's a project is successful, continue with that. Help them. Or anything going to affect the project. The viability or anything going to affect the success of the business, how to mitigate, what are the mitigating factors? So you can identify the mitigating factors affecting the project. Mitigating factors early, which is going to affect. Okay, provides quality information for decision making. This is very, very, very important. Quality information. Quality information. And you remember we discussed the interpretation of financial statements. It is not information that tells the customer profit has been increased by 10%. That information is not giving any idea to make a decision. You have to say profit has been increased by 10% due to these factors. Those factors has to be evaluated. So the feasibility study will give us the information to go into the details and find out what are the affecting factors for this profitability. Okay. Provide documentation that a business venture was thoroughly investigated. Feasibility report has to be very comprehensive, therefore thoroughly investigated. Go through in detail to the documentation and put in a document. So it is a future reference and also guideline and also a model for the bank to use in the future business endeavors. Okay, helps in securing funding from the lending institutions and other monetary sources. Secure the funds because we are lending others money. Banks and financial institutions lending to the needy customers, depositors' funds, and other funds collected from the external factors. And we are risking others' funds. Therefore, it is important to see the project is viable because we are risking others' money in case of a default. So bank is liable for return back the money which have been borrowed from the depositors. And legally we are bound for it. Helps to attract equity investment. Okay. What is equity investment? Yeah, what is equity investment? There are certain type of financial, there are equity finance and business finance. Equity finance and business finance. Business finance is giving loans. Equity finance is not giving loan. Equity investment is sharing the capital, equity, sharing the capital. So if feasibility study carefully analyze, one can decide whether to invest in that business. In some ventures we say the bank is also invest in the short-term equity in the business. Okay. When you are giving a long-term facility, we call that as a equity partnership. We call that equity, so it's long-term. But it is not becoming equity. Why? Because equity is the attached to the business. Loan, it is not attached to the business, it has to be repaid back. Equity is not get repaid back. It will be lifetime with the business. Right? So if you're having a facility for long term, it's an equity investment to support, to increase the capital by the way of bank loans. So feasibility study gives us the information and about the future plans, whether we are going to invest in that business or not. Research to do a study gives focus to the project. What we discussed earlier, same thing, I put in a nutshell, in summary form. Give the focus to the project. Right? If you do a feasibility report, it will be specifically directing the banker or the lender to the business and to the project. And narrows the business alternatives. So what are the alternatives available? Narrow down to 1 or 2. Then identify new opportunities. When you analysis is done, we can identify whether there's any other opportunities deriving from this business. Once you analyze a proposal for some business, what are the outcomes, alternatives can be developed, new opportunities, right? There are certain manufactured products are there. You find a lot of alternative or alternative products or byproducts can be manufactured by using the same raw material. Take the case of sugar industry. Take the case of sugar industry. Now sugar manufactured from sugar cane, right? Sugar cane cultivators. They produce the sugar cane and give to the factories. So factory, they crush the sugar cane, right? Take the extract. Out of the extract, they refine, manufacture sugar. There are certain leftovers. After refining that, there are certain leftovers, which can be used for a number of other byproducts. Right? A lot of other opportunities are available. So if you take the Gallo sugar factory, they manufacture sugar and they manufacture ethanol, the byproduct of alternative opportunities. Manufacture ethanol for our perfumes and other liquor industry. Gallo that ethanol, right? Then the husk, leftover husk will be used as a animal feed, and also there can be used as a fertilizer. After sugar is manufactured, the excess water is given to the water board and distributed among the villages. So the number of new opportunities are arriving out of that. Not only sugar. Likewise, any manufacturer, if you invent, the customers may be able to find new ways of doing things and identify reasons not to proceed. I told earlier also, we have to justify the reasons why we should not proceed this business. Okay. Provides valuable information for go, no go decision. Whether to proceed with that, with the project or not. Or not. Increase the probability of business success by identifying the weaknesses early. So when you do analysis, a research study, to identify the weaknesses, you can develop strategies to rectify those weaknesses and early to make this project is viable. Right. What are uses of feasibility reports? A feasible business means generate adequate cash flow and profits. A success business, adequate cash flow and the profit. What's the difference between cash flow and profit? Can you remember we discussed in the past working capital finance? What is profit? What is cash flow? Cash flow is the realized value of the money. Profits are unrealized assets. Profits are unrealized assets. It will take time to convert into cash. Okay, but profits also needed. Then what are the risks involved and how to withstand the risk, mitigate the risk? Remain viable in long term. Long term, any business started, not to do within 1 year or 6 months to close down. No. For any business, they start for infinity period. Therefore, in the infinity period, long term viable should be there. That can be identified by using the feasibility studies. Meet the goals of the founders. The founders mean who have invested to start the business. What is their goals? Finally, it will achieve their goals. Right. What are the alternatives? The feasibility study helped frame and flesh out the specific business scenarios so they can be studied in depth. So we discussed earlier also. When you analyze what are the main factors, if that fails, what is the alternative? There are 3 major areas to be covered by a good feasibility report. 3 major areas should be covered by a good feasibility report, a study analysis. Number 1, the introduction part. So this will be discussed in details. Introduction. Any feasibility, there should be first paragraph should be introduction. This aspect deals with the provision of background information about the proposed business, data collection method, and proposed name and purpose of the business, objective of the business. There in the introduction, what are things to be included? Who are the investors? Who are the investors? Do they have experience and skill to successfully launch the business? Technical knowledge, financial expertise, necessary market is there to carry out successfully. What motivated you to establish the business? This is for the customer. We ask this question here. We put across to the customer when we prepare a feasibility report. What motivated the customer to establish the business? Why you are going to do this business? The reason. So introduction, that has to be clearly highlighted. in our reports. How did you come about the business idea? If somebody had told you, or some ideas given by somebody, or sometimes you may find certain people may have their own innovative ideas are there. The recent past, if you've seen after this pandemic situation, a lot of innovative products have been come to the market. So the latest one is in the Anuradhapura hospital, one of the doctor has been invented to manufacture diesel out of the corn oil. Okay, successful use. So it is not in the commercial quantity, but even in a small scale, you can do that. Right? Now, if you take that in Brazil, largest sugar cultivated area, the world, they use this ethanol, byproduct of sugar, for use as a energy is substitute for petrol. They use ethanol for petrol, using run the vehicles. Okay, so those are innovative ideas. Creative ideas can be established. How come about a business idea? It is sometimes certain people have, imaginary and thinking pattern. They try to think something and develop, and they come to conclusion they can do a business out of that. That's how most of the businesses are come across. If we look at the history of evolution of the human being, certain products have been developed, evaluated, innovated. Right? Right. Then, or else sometimes somebody else have been motivated. For example, now, the present time, the government is encouraging to start business. Now, for example, after this pandemic situation, the dollar crisis, import ban, government is encouraging small entrepreneurs to start up, import subsidies, products, and export-oriented products. So that is the motivation given by the external factor, the person to get into a business and do it. Right? Or else sometimes you may see a certain, we need to do the semi-sector lending, you may find certain customers, they have their innovative ideas, creative ideas. So they come to the banks to finance those ideas to create new businesses. I don't know whether you have watched sometime back we had a telecasted one program by the ITN at Power. Have you come across this one? Very important, certain informations, certain teleprograms are there for us to take in ideas about the entrepreneurship. So this at Power, a large businessmen were in the panel interviewing new innovative people who have innovated new products. And they interview and try to help them to manufacture and put into the market that particular product. Sometimes some businessmen we have found that they buy that product and market in their own name. Right? So they have market, what do you call name, market name, established brand name. So sometimes you may find these are produced and put in the brand name. Okay. And take the case of Bata and DSI. Do they manufacture footwear now? Earlier, they had the big factories and the mass scale they were manufacturing. Now, small businessmen were manufacturing, and That means they outsource their production and collect those end product, put it in the market with their brand name. Okay, so when you do a project analysis, this alternative methods, who are the investors, how they invest, what is the business, what is the motivation factor of that business, how they derived the business idea, that has to be analyzed. The second one is description of the business. What is the business? Product and the business. This also comes with the industry. What is the industry? Industry analysis is one of the vital factors for establishing new businesses, also continuing on businesses. The section deals with the statement about the business, the product to be offered, the nature of the industry, and the opportunities available to exploit. What is the industry? Now, for example, there is a product industry, shoe manufacturing industry. Right? If you take hospitality industry, within that industry there are a number of other sub-units. Hotel industry, travel agents, tour operators, then small-scale suppliers, handicrafts, all are sub-industries in that business. So what is the business? And what are the specific industry? And what is the viability of that industry? That industry is growing industry, or a stagnating industry, or declining industry. Certain industries in the field is declining. It's declining. Why? There's no market for that product. For example, if anybody try to manufacture safety blades, razor blade manufacturer the product is out of date because the innovative product has come, disposable razor. Therefore, the razor blades are no more in viable operations, except for certain saloons. They may use these razor blades as a disposable blade. So the industry has been narrowed down. It can be it's not moving or growing. There are certain industries sometime long before were very flourishing and were there in the country. So most of these industries have been affected for certain reasons, internal factors as well as external factors. So sometimes government policies, change of the customer preferences, change. Okay, so what are things should be incorporated in a feasibility report about the business and their business opportunities? So what are the questions here to be addressed? What are you going to sell? So what is the product you are going to sell? What is the product? Exactly product going to sell. Okay. And to whom it will be sold? What is the market? What will the product be used for? Okay. Now, I'll give a small case example. One of this happens sometimes with this entrepreneur development training the scheme introduced by the Mahinda Rajapaksa government when they came to power in 2004. Poverty alleviation Sukshma loan scheme. 50,000 loans were given to self-employment. So for one young boy came, entrepreneur, a boy came and asked for a facility to purchase a gas oven to manufacture bread. When it discussed about this business plan and all, I found that he had been working in a hotel in the bakery section. So he know the products and how to do, the technical know-how is there. Therefore, technical feasibility is there in the customer. Then I asked to whom we are going to sell this product. What is the market? What is the market size? First question I asked, the loan is 50,000 with the interest comes in installment this much per day. How many loaves of bread you have to sell to cover up your cost? Break even. Okay, the bread is a price control, and we know that time is for 45 rupees, and the margin is very narrow margin, and it's a perishable item. You can't store it and sell it. You can use it for any other product, right? So therefore, the product, although its product is viable, sell, he have a limit. What you call feasibility is not favorable. Second question was I asked, what is the market size? To whom we are going to sell, right? And find out who are the buyers at that area, who are the competitors in the area. That has to be discussed. So if I found that his father is also have a bakery, he manufacture bread using the old what you call firewood method, and he also manufacture bread. So now he's trying to compete in the same market. What is the customer preference for firewood bread or gas oven bread? So as a banker, we have to consider these things. Customer project viability report is very favorable. Figures are all given, but practically it is not feasible. So I didn't want to discourage this guy, young guy. So I told, okay, you have experiences manufacturing what you call pastries, short buns, those other than the bread, other products you know, no? Yes. So I arranged with 2 schools, canteens, to manufacture this boy to sell their pastries, then the fish bun, seasonable bun, and other bread items to the school canteens and establish a market for him to give this loan. So therefore, it is the duty of the banker to look into this aspect, even if it's small scale. Okay, will the target market purchase the product? That's a question. I told, what is the customer preference? If you go for these short-read products, that's a market for them because school children they are purchasing. Right, everyone can get to canteen. Also, you can sell in the shop, having a bakery itself, having a small shop as a breakfast for the school children. This product can be sold. Now, an example I'm taking for you to explain this factor. What are the factors will affect the proposed business positively and negatively? One is the competition, then the product, quality of the product, price of the product, profitability of the product. What is the margin, profit margin? How much to be produced? Whether he can produce those amount, it can be sold at. Those are the factors has to be analyzed. How will the product service be used? Is it directly used or as a byproduct? Sometimes some products are manufactured, it is going to be used for some other activity. Okay, now for example, a business, a customer want to start up a manufacturing spare parts for 3 wheels. Now there's a big demand. Okay, market is there, huge demand because the imports are bad, and therefore there's a huge demand. So he had to first thing, he had to manufacture according to the original standard. Whether he has any technical knowledge. And that is that particular product is used for another industry. That is the 3-wheel transportation industry. So to success of this particular spare part business, there should be, the three-wheeler business has to be improved. So there's a market. Why? The three-wheelers also not imported. So therefore the need for the spare parts also gone up. There's a market. This is what we have to analyze. Okay, what will you offer that will account for market penetration? When it comes to market, it will new markets. They are with a new product for the new market or new product for the existing market, or what type of penetration is going to be useful. Same product for the other market. Okay. What are the destructive features that will not enable your product to compete effectively? What are the competitors and what are the competitors' behavior? That's very important. Especially our culture. Competitive behavior is very, very serious. Destructive. Competitive behavior is destructive. Right? You use all the effort to destroy your business. So we have to keep in mind that. Are there opportunities of future expansion? So in the products analysis, the project feasibility, this has to be there. Dimensions of business viability, market viability, technical viability, business model viability, management model viability, economic and financial model viability, exit strategy viability. Right? With the sort of market viability, we discuss in detail. What is the market? To whom we are going to sell this product? What is the size of the market? What segment of the market we want to sell? Okay. Not the entire country, a certain area, a certain client basis. Right? Now, can you remember when this what is called ice cream was introduced? Cargill started distributing this magic ice cream here. Right? So that music itself attracting people. Tune Palma ke tamai. What is the market? Specifically for the small children. The ice cream was targeted for small children. So that's a market size. Right? Then the technical viability, how to manufacture, the quality and the quantity, technical knowledge, machinery, knowledge of the operating of machinery, all these things comes under technical viability. In the business model, there is a sole proprietorship, partnership, or a company. Most of the business are when we discuss in these project reports, our banks are looking for all the large scale businesses. We need to discuss about the projects. Or going for limited liability companies. We can start with the sole proprietorship. Risk is there. Or partnership. The next stage of development should be the limited liability company. Then the management model viability. What is the management model? Who are the decision makers? There are certain businesses, proprietor or the owner is not running the business. The management decisions are made by somebody else. Those are what we call success factors, key success factors. I'm taking the case of a hotel or a restaurant. Okay, hotel or restaurant. What is the key success factor? So this is a management model. Is the chef. Cook so the management is knowledgeable and all these things are there. It's not feasible. The feasibility is based on the person who, the main key person behind that business. Okay? So make an example, but right? The management model, key success, who the key person behind the business. Garage Agatodi, who is the success factor, is the technicians, head boss. Any business has a decision key factor behind the business. So that's the management model. In economic and financial model viability, the external factors, how affecting the business. Then final comes exit strategic viability. Now normally we are talking about exit strategic viability for venture capital or a small business entities. Venture capital only normally we are discussing about this exit strategy, because when business comes to a certain point, the investor should be able to exit from the business. They sell the business to somebody else and come out. Whether there's a viability for that. It's called exit strategy viability. Right. Let's go. Then next step will be the market consideration. Very important part is the market. Market analysis is very key. It involves determining current and potential demand for the product in the market area of the interest. The social economic characteristics of buyers and sales forecast for the first 3 years is very important. Because you are granting a loan for first future, therefore forecasting the sales for future 3 years will be very crucial. Now here the bankers has to be very careful about putting certain figures, increase by 10%, increase by 25% annually, whether it is viable. We have to see whether what are the factors affecting the demand for that product in the market. It means current and potential demand for the product. What is the current demand? What would be the potential demand for the future? Whether the customer base can be expanded, or same customers can be given more products. That demand has to be analyzed in the market. Of your interest area means your geographical area. Market area for your interest means geographical, we call it geographical area. The social economic characteristics of the buyers. Right? This is another important factor. Social economic characteristics means social beliefs, thinking pattern, and economic viability, financial viability of the buyers. Also making a very considerable factor. Right? The sale, by that only you can do the sales forecast. So the sales forecast is the most crucial part in project viability. Therefore, the bankers or lenders have to pay more attention on the sales forecast. The sales should be achievable. Most of the time we have in the project reports, millions of sales dollars, profit take a venture, local expansion business, feasibility report is very, very viable and rosary. But how many numbers of buyers are there in that area to buy that particular product? So I'll tell you, if you're doing this practically, what are the information to be obtained. This section is one of the most difficult to prepare and one of the most important. The market consideration is the most difficult to prepare and most important one. Why? The sales are our recovery base. The customer having sufficient sales, and there should be sufficient cash flow. Sufficient cash flow will help us to make our recovery. So all our recoveries are based on the customer's market, selling of their product. Almost all aspects of the feasibility report depends on the market consideration. So all other factors about the viability analysis based or depend on the market. If the sales are there, right? A sales manufacture කරන්න product raw material purchase කරන්න ඕන. Then manufacturing process එකක් තියෙනවා. All are the expenses. මේ ඔක්කොම තිබුණත් sales හරි නැත්නම් මේ ඔක්කොම වර්ධිනවා. It can go wrong. It is therefore advisable that prospective entrepreneurs should prepare this section before do any other aspect. So start with that market consideration. Okay. In addition, enough time and skill should be devoted to this aspect. You should identify the aspect include who are the customers for the proposed product or service. We discussed earlier this was. What is the customer? Who are the customers? Customer going to manufacture shoes. Right, okay. What type of shoes? Is it leather shoes? What type of product is that? To whom? School children? Office going ladies? Or office going gents? Right? So, what is the customer preferences? Now, for example, manufacturing lady shoes, they are very design concerned. But men are not that much of design concern when you are buying shoes. School children, their shoes they are looking for the durability, hard use. So these are factors attached to each and every different with one segment of manufactured product. So bank has to see that in detail. Who are the customer? Segmentation. Who and where are the major purchasers of the product or service? Who are the suppliers? Or where I get the raw material? Or where I get the other materials? Whether labor is available. So, based on the customer sales, then you establish other factors, go behind the line. What aspect of the product appeals to potential customer? Product appeals, product, what you call product viability or product attraction to the potential customers. Sometimes you may find certain businesses to introduce new product to the market. They use the sample products to some potential customers. Or they give some discounted for shorter period. Or attach the product with some other product. By this will be free. So how you go into the customer strategy? What aspect of the product may be disapproved by the customer? Sometimes you may find certain customers are not willing to buy certain products. Disapprove. Now, for example, take the soap industry. Now the prices of the coconut oil and the palm oil have been rapidly increasing. Right? The certain manufacturers are using now, instead of this vegetable oils, the palm oil or the coconut oil, animal fats. Animal fat they are used. So the certain animal fats are disapproved by the customer. Now, for example, you manufacture by the pig fat. Certain category of customers may not use that. When you use animal fat, especially Hindus, they won't buy this product. So we have to see what is the raw material used, and the customers accepted that. Right? How will you overcome negative customer reaction? What is the strategy? If the customer rejects the product, how we are going to change the product to approve the customer. Okay. Right. What is the size of the current total market for the products rendered? Where the market It is a specific place. There are certain markets not in the specific place. For example, Alibaba and all these what you call online trading. Most of the businesses are going on online trading. Right? So market is not established in one place. It is very broad now. The online market system is very broad. So if a customer, their services segmentation, particular segment, and they're targeting using social media and other what you call technologies to attract that customer. Total market on that product. Okay. Is there a possibility for a potential annual growth of the total market of a product? What is the potential growth? Which is with the generation increase or new customers are buying the product. And that will grow the sales volume. What are the factors affecting the market growth? Market growth, to expand the market, growing of the market. What are the factors? Basically, introducing new customers to the market will have a better market growth than generation growth. So generation growth is very slow motion. But the new customers, introducing new customers to use that particular product will be much more effective. What are the sources of data and methods used to arrive this information? Now, informations are very important. Informations are very important. So you can choose marketing strategies called giving questionnaires, ghost shoppers, right? And discussing with the customers in the certain public places. There are a lot of other techniques can be used. Okay, who are the competitors? This is a very, very crucial part. So, manufacture same product and what is their behavior? How do the competitors fit into the market? What are their strategies? How they compete in the market? There can be price wars, there can be a quality of product wars. In the attraction methodology, sometimes you may advertisement, promotion activities, how they use that. Are they more or less profitable? Right? The profitability analysis is very important because no business can be survived without profits. What are the competitors' weaknesses and how will you use the weaknesses to? What are the competitors' weaknesses and how will you use the weaknesses to get the customers? Create your SWOT analysis, we discuss this. Competitors' weaknesses can be converted into opportunities of our customer. So if there are weak analysis, you find the weaknesses of the competitors, then use those weaknesses, convert as an opportunity to get those customers to your market. Okay, what is the competitor's strength? Right, if the customer strength is grow better than our customer, then there's a risk. There's a risk. So opportunity as a threat. Is there any way of offsetting the strength? Otherwise, it will be a threat to your business. How will you continue to assess the target market? What is the methodology used to assess the target market? It can be customer surveys. It can be information from the government sources like divisional secretaries, population information, right? There are certain companies, they do market analysis from those can assess the target market. What will you use to guide to product improvement? So product improvement means the same product cannot be run for a long time. It has to be changed. The next is what are marketing plans that we're selling. What are the selling strategies? Marketing plans describe how the sales projection will be made. Sales projection, how you are made sales projection, depending on the market plan. The plans also describe the overall marketing strategy, sales and the service policies, pricing, distribution, and advertising strategies. How the next year, how the customer plan to attract the project for the next year sales. And based on the marketing strategy, going to new markets or new segment of markets. So you are going to break the competitors' market, the strategy. In the pricing policy, and you're giving a discounted price reduction, or promotional activities, buy 2 1 give 1 like that. Then distribution pattern, going for the new markets and advertising. The question addressed by the marketing plan includes what kind of customer group will be the target for initial intensive selling effort and later selling efforts. Who are the target customers this year, current year? Who are the target customers for later next year? How will specific customers be identified and contacted? How will specific customers be identified and contacted? How we approach the customer? How to identify the customer and approaching the customer. Okay, what features of product will be re-emphasized to generate sufficient sales? Right? To generate sales, what are the factors you are going to use, features of the product you are going to emphasize? This is good for this healthcare. This product is more, what do you call, natural, no chemical added. Those are features added to the increase the sales. What types of pricing strategy will be adopted and why? The pricing strategy. What margin you are going to maintain so that margin is sufficient. What prices to be charged and how do these prices compare with those major competitors? Okay, the pricing strategy. The market viability is based on the opportunity created in the market and who is the target customer, which customer base you are going to attract, and who are the competitors in the market, which is going to be a challenge to you, and what is the environment of the market, right? Environment means buyers and other market sellers. What are the alternative or similar products, substitutes, the price of the product, and the distribution of the product. Sometimes you may find the pricing is attached to the, not to the cost, but to the brand name. Right? Now what I've seen sometimes, you buy a shirt from Amedias, branded is big brand, very international brand, right? The price is 3,000 rupees. So if you look at the label in that particular shirt, the material on Japanese material. Japanese material. You go to Signature or shirt walk for emerald shirt. To get a shirt, emerald shirt and see. There again, you find same materials used, but a huge difference of pricing. If you go to some other place, even less than, you can buy the same product. So the pricing mostly attracts you for the brand name. Okay, for the brand name. Lee Bond. Then likewise for the brand. So they are giving me for the brand name the pricing thing. So most of the customers, they promote their brand name. Creating a brand name in the minds of the business has a quality. This is the fact. Okay. What is the market assessment? Market assessment may be conducted first to identify the market opportunities. If no opportunities exist, there may be no reason for its future. Right? If there should be a market to sell the product. If they are going to create a market to sell the product, if there are going to be new products, it will take the time to customer to introduce the product. You have to wait and see till that assess how long it will take. Longer the period, opportunities for getting that market is very weak. In a shorter period, how we are going to enter into that market and introduce the product to the market. So market assessment is very important. Second kind of business model, I told you what is the business model. Uniqueness of the model. What is the model? Right? Sole proprietorship, partnership, private company, or public company. Then the business model, company has ability to duplicate. Right? The company always try to create the same product in a different way, duplicate the product. Ability to create a value is a profitability. Basically, the brand name. Then ability to create the wealth. That's once you create a value, the wealth will be increased in the business. Then comes to management model. I told you the key success factor is one of the key factors in the management model. Application of knowledge and skills. Right? The knowledge and the skills. Skill mean knowledge can be getting from the training, but skills by doing the job. How long they are doing the job and get exposure into the business. The training, internal and external training. Employee management or recruitment, how best the management is manage their employment and recruitment policies. If any business you find that employees are leaving frequently, there's something wrong in that business. Okay, that will not run for long. Management of intellectual property. This is another important fact. Intellectual property means what do you call royalties and other factors. Right? So those cannot be copied. The management risk. Key success factors can any moment leave the company and go. Once it goes, the company will collapse. Okay, it happens to large businesses also. It happens. Even for small businesses, it will happen. Ability to delegate it to the staff. Down the line, delegation. It's not one man show. Management delegation is very important to manage a business very effectively. Then what is the suitable structure to do this delegation? Finally, how to measure business progress. Okay, the management team is the key to successful launching a new business venture. prospective entrepreneurs must look for committed management team with balanced technical, managerial, and business skills and experience in launching the product or proposed business. Okay. The sector will provide a description of key management personnel and their primary duties, the organization structure, and the board of directors. What are questions in the management team? Who are the key management members? Right? These are the key factors. Who are making the decisions of the business? What are the key management roles in the company? What are the key roles? These are the directors, factory manager, accountant, personnel manager, quality controller. Those are the key management roles of successful in the business. Who will fill each position? What is the qualification needed? How we select the relevant people? What are the exact duties and responsibilities of key members of the management team? That has to be, job description has to be prepared, and job specification has to be given to each and every members of the management team. What are their responsibilities, duties? It has been documented. What is the philosophy of organization as to the size and the composition of the board of directors? There are certain organizations, they are top-heavy organizations. There are a lot of directors not matched with the company's size. Sometimes certain businesses are very large, only one or two directors. So what is the philosophy behind that? Let's find out that. The feasibility report. Will the business independently managed by you, or are you employing specialists? This is another crucial point. If employing specialists, sometimes you may find that certain businesses are successful run by not by the owners, third parties. Sometimes you may find you can't facilities in our village areas specifically. When you're going to find out certain information from a business, so we ask for the chief, Mudalal is there at the seat, ideal enough, counter cashiering. So we go and ask for the Mudalali certain information about the business, the grant facility. So Mudalal look here and there. මහත්ය පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්නවද? ලියන මහත්ය පොඩ්ඩක් එළියට ගිහිල්ලා. ලියන මහත්ය පොඩ්ඩක් එළියට ගිහිල්ලා. What inspires you? What inspires you? The decision of managing is run by the ලියන මහත්ය, not by the boss. Okay, so there are certain businesses. There the key person is behind the business success. Okay. How many numbers of skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled workers would you require? Carefully analyze labor requirement. Do you require supportive professional service? What is the most cost labor? What is the annual cost of labor? Labor cost is today's consumer in Sri Lanka very expensive item. So therefore, cost of production is increasing. Therefore, it had to be managed properly. Economic and financial viability includes startup cost, the working capital requirement, operating cost, raw material cost. What is the overall return on the investment? What is the overall profitability? What is the break-even point of production? Sustainability of market values, projected revenue. Market versus projected revenue. What is the revenue projected in the business? And whether the market is sustainable, it can be continued. Then ability to generate an economic value. Those are factors we discuss about technical specifications. Economic value. Right. Its factors of economic and financial viability provides documentation that idea was thoroughly investigated. Helps attractive funds from the lending stage. Helps attract equity investment. So these three we discussed earlier steps. Documentation until the feasibility report prepared is a document which include tell that us idea was properly, thoroughly investigated, going into the full details. Then funding lending help the funding agencies to go through this viability and make a decision, and also helps enter equity investment. To go to share market, easy to sell the product in the share market. So the technical feasibility includes determining the facility needs. What are the facilities you needed? What type of technical facilities are needed? Suitability of production technology. What is the most suitable technology? Availability of suitability of the site, where the location, whether the suitability of the location, the raw material supplies, other inputs, and the technical feasibility includes. Technical viability also included the capacity of manufacturing, what are the resources needed, and what is the process. So this is the working capital finance, we discussed this one. And what is the process, right? It includes the section describe the facilities, plant location, space requirement, inventory control decisions, purchasing, production control, factory, administrative building, machinery and equipment, raw material and components of buildings, etc. So the technical analysis, what are the other things you look into? Inventory, the space, the plant location, space requirements, how much the space requirement, inventory control decisions, one of the crucial factors in any business, managing inventory, purchasing, production control, production process to be controlled. The shorter the period, higher the profit. Factory and administrative building, how the location. Machinery equipment, raw material components of it, etc. Where will be the company be located and why? By the reason you are going to locate that company, that particular venture. Now, for example, if you see, most of the supermarkets are not established in the town, middle of a town. It is out of the town. Why? The main, the target market is middle class customers. So the parking is the key factor for most of the successful supermarkets. Supermarket to be success, there should be a sufficient parking area. Okay, so therefore location is not in the middle of a town, it is out of the town. What are the facilities needed to conduct a proposed business? Building size, space. Okay. What are the funds needed with the financial need, analyzing capital need, working capital need in a broad base. How and when will the plants, space and equipment be expanded to meet the sales projection? When the sales are expanding, when the machineries can be used to what extent to meet that sales projection. What are the manufacturing process involved in the production of the project? What are the raw materials for your product? The vendors and prices. Are the raw material available? Freely available or not? Then the what is the cost of storing raw materials? If the raw material not freely available, you have to keep in stocks. When you keep in stocks raw material, cost of production will increase. What are the machines needed for your production? System, vendors, availability and price. Machinery also, when we get the vendors to service the machinery and the availability and the price. What is the normal full production capacity of the machine? What is the input-output ratio, raw material to end product? How much input, how many kilograms? What is the output? How many kilograms? Ratio, input-output ratio. What method will the company use to control inventory, quality, and scheduling of products? Right? Company used to control inventory, quality, and scheduling of products. What is the volume of utilities, electricity and water needed for successful launching of the business? Next one is the financial feasibility. These are another key areas. Financial economic feasibility is included estimated total capital requirement. What are the capital requirements? These two components, fixed capital and working capital. Estimate equity and credit needs. To meet that capital requirement, how much of equity and how much of borrowings. And budgeted expected cost and returns. Okay, expected cost and returns. So budgeted cost and figures, cost and return, that income has to be estimated based on that whether it is viable to spend this money on equity. Okay. This we discussed. So the financial and economic plan provides the basic foundation for the evaluation of an investment opportunity. These are purposes to indicate the ventures, potential and timetable for financial viability. The areas covered include preparation of pro forma profit and loss account, that is projected profit and loss account for the future period. Preparation of cash flow analysis is one of the key important factor. Projected cash flow. Prepare a pro forma balance sheet, that is projected balance sheet. And preparation of the break-even analysis, anti-charge description of the method of cost control. This is financial economic plan includes. The issues addressed in section can be summarized in the following questions. How much do you need for business now and in the future? Cash requirements. How will the capital requirement be raised? Issuing of shares, debentures, or loans? How the capital is successfully collected. What is the unit price and the total amount of securities to be offered? When you increasing capital, what is the security you are going to offer? What is the unit price of the share? How many shares will be held by the members of the management team? So that's a limitation with public companies. Management team can hold a certain amount only. How will the funds be used? Funds generated, what purpose they are going to use? So we discussed this in the fund flow statement. Funds are raised to what purpose? Capital expenditure or working capital? So working capital will increase the profit. Fixed capital will not increase the profit. It will increase the production. What are the major areas of expenditure? Administrative expenses, selling and distribution expenses, finance expenses. How much do you know of government policies and small-scale industries, tax, interest rate, etc.? What is the tax system of the government? It has impact on our profitability. What is the tile profit? How do you determine this? Right? And the flow level of profit, tile profit. How will balance sheet look like? How will cash now statement look like? After doing this adjustment, how the cash flow statement look like? At what level of sales and production the cash is covered, break-even point? How will the company monitor control cash in order to meet the projected income and cash flow? So managing cash is a liquidity management. That has to, in the project report, that has to be looked into. So we can final one, examination of credit risk and problems of business plan. Must identify and describe the implicit assumption about the major risks and problems of the proposed investment opportunity. What are the risks involved, external and external risks that has to be analyzed in the project report. This should include a description of the risk related to the industry, the company, and personnel. What is industry-related risk? What is the internal factory company-related risk? And to personnel. Your products risk, market risk, and the timing of and financing of your startup, identification and description of the risk proposed investment, demonstrate the skills of the entrepreneur and increase the credibility of the business venture. Among the issues addressed are what is the impact of potential price relation by competition on the organization's success? What is the pricing policy? With the go along with the competitors to capture the market. What are the threats posed by the potential changes in the industry? Will the design and manufacturing costs exceed the budget? If so, how to manage it? How are the sales projections like to be achieved? Have to monitor carefully. We discussed earlier. Will production schedule and delivery time be met? So this is a risk area. Production schedule and delivery time has to be matched. Otherwise, customers may leave your business. What are the difficulties like to encounter in the procurement raw materials? Raw material supplies are one of the key factors to successfully run the business. So how the raw materials are supplied, procurement. What the time lag of imports, ordering time and delivery time. How much are stocks to be maintained to meet the day-to-day operations? That has to be taken into consideration. Will the company face difficulties in obtaining neither credit facilities? What impact the government policies have on needed credit facilities? The government interference in credit facilities. For example, when the government in the recent past continuously controlling the vehicle investment in the vehicles, that is loan to value ratio has been government has been controlling. So you cannot get 100%. I think the different type of vehicle loan to value ratio is different. Okay, what are the potential challenges like to be posed by the competition? Always the competition is very important. Finally, conclusions. Right? Evaluation of the conclusion. In the project report, finally end up with the conclusion. All the analysis summarize and you give a conclusion and finally the recommendation. This section deals with the use of various methods to evaluate the worth of the investment proposal. This includes the average rate of return on the investment or equity, payable period, discounted cash flow method, and profitability index. In evaluating project proposal, the entrepreneur intends to answer the following questions. What are the profitability, productivity, and feasibility of the project? Post-project. The all ratio we are discussing the early sessions. Will the business venture meet the obligation to the current creditors? Working capital ratios. What is the number of years required to receive an initial investment payback method in PB systems? What is the cost benefit ratio of the proposed venture? Cost benefit ratio of the venture. Right? How much of cost? What is the benefit? Will the present value of the future cash flow be positive or negative? What are the relationship among price, market share, and profit? So here go the ratios and compare this. Is there any discount allowance for prompt payment? Discount prompt payment, that is what you call cash discounts, I allowing. What method will the company use to distribute and make sales of product or service? And will the company use its own sales force, sales representative and distributors? How all sales are managed? They outsource the sales or they sell themselves. Are there ready-made manufacturers or sales representatives already selling related products that can be used? Now, for example, Dali Butler, Rekita Coleman, these are companies, they are distributing others' products. Manufactured by others, they distribute. Okay? What approaches will company use to bring its product to the attention of the positive purchasers? The report should highlight the contribution of the business to the large society. Such issues as employment opportunities, provision of inputs and industry development, export potentials, and revenue to be generated will be addressed by this management. Levels of feasibility assessment, a feasibility study of an idea conducted in 3 levels. Operational feasibility, will it work? Operational feasibility, this proposal will, whether they can work it. Technical feasibility, can it build? Can it do it? Economic feasibility, will it make economic sense of it at first and benefit? Will it generate profit finally? Finally, you go to decision, study the results, outline the depth various business scenarios, examining the implications, strength and weaknesses of each, and go for a decision, whether to continue with the proposal or you're going to wait. So therefore, finally, we summarize the feasibility study, rationales, and what are things, important things to be summarized. Uncover the strength and weaknesses of existing business of proposed venture. Opportunities and threats present in the natural environment. So those are the things, some of the areas we can identify in the feasibility study. The resources required to carry through, and ultimately the prospects of success. In simplest terms, the two criteria judge feasibility are cost required and value to it. Well-designed feasibility study should provide a historical background of the business of the project, a description of the product or service accounting statements, details of the operations management, market research policies, financial data, legal recoveries, and tax obligations. Generally, feasibility studies proceed technical development and project implementation. Feasibility study evaluate the project potential for success, therefore, perceived objectively is an important factor in the credibility of the study for potential investors and lending institutions. It must therefore be conducted with the objective, unbiased approach to provide information about the decisions can be based on. Okay, so this is the nutshell summary of what we have discussed up to now. Okay, which child can best describe your present situation? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Who can see the present situation of the company? A, B can see the present situation, A can see the future situations. Right. What is a report writing? A means to convey some information to others. It's an organized, factual, objective presentation of information. Organized since it follows systematic pattern. Objective means it should not be influenced by your personal feelings. Okay, understood? That means what are factors you are taking into consideration? What is the analysis? Results should be based on that, not in the personal influence, personal feelings. In past reports, I have seen this. Some of the candidates ඔක්කොම analyze කරලා තියෙනවා. Conclusion එක තමන්ගේ idea එක ලියන්නේ. What he knows about what he already tells, not whatever research findings of the report. Report is comprehensive document and covers all aspects of the subject matter of study. Okay, for make a udahana right? Personal feeling के लिए. I gave a project proposal some time back, cultivation of uh, uh, banana cultivation in Mahaveli area. Okay, so most of the participants, candidates, they have analyzed nicely. They say the product 100 acres to cultivate, and it just takes so long time to get harvesting. It takes about 1 year period, right? And it has to be done these various stages. All these things has nicely analyzed in the body of the context. Right. When it comes to financial analysis, projections of customer loan following entire loan amount is given on the very first day, and thereafter they put the monthly installment recovery plan. It's not matching with the analysis. So your analysis says, production will be take 1 year time until such a grace period should be given. The cash flow projection for the very first day itself starting recovery. So where you get the money to recover? So these are it should not be influenced by your own personal feelings. Right. What are differences? Present information, not an argument. Right? In the report, you present an information, not an argument. It means to be scanned quickly by the reader. By reading quickly can be understood. Uses numbered headings and subheadings. Point form number subheading. Uses short, concise paragraphs and dot points where applicable. Short paragraphs. Uses graphic where possible. Tables, graphs, illustration has to be incorporated to support your idea. We need an abstract, sometimes called an executive summary, on the first page. Does not allow need references and bibliography. At the end of the whenever you refer to some table or something you take it from outside sources, mention the source from where you got the information and the references. On the bibliography, what are the external documents, external information, sources, list out those bibliography. Right. The management lesson is never start a project unless all resources are available. Okay, so feasibility study gives what are the required. Right. Structure of the project we'll do this later. Teachers open the door, but you must enter by yourself. We try to help you to understand how to do it. But project is yours. The meeting on the this is some summary of what we have discussed already. The common mistakes in the report writing, one is the boring, errors, language, lengthy. 2,500 words, and we try to limit it to 2,500 words. Boring means you are not presenting the your presentation has to be some sort of readable, for a person to read, it should be attractive. Okay. Finally, plan and use a Gantt chart to monitor your progress. So now itself you can start, today itself you can start and prepare a Gantt chart. What is the closing date? Before the closing date, try to finish this. Keep a logbook and make a list when you can collect information. You jot down summary form. Always write down your ideas. Whenever you get up with idea, jot down and keep it ready. Document, keep track of collected data. Okay. Write your report every day or regularly. Make your writing interesting and clear like a story. Until we can manage the time, we can manage nothing else. So don't tell at the last date we could not finish due to these reasons and give some more time. So you are waiting till the last minute to write the report. So information copy ultimately I'm not the loser, you are the loser. I must tell this for my exam session in again one explain project reporting most important factors keep here. Okay, believe in yourself is first secret to success. You can do it, definitely. Right? And possible, yes, it's not impossible. Thanks for listening. So we break for a while, about 15 minutes. I'll come back and discuss about this semester's project proposal. We can discuss. I'll discuss about how to do that. What are the important factors to be taken into consideration? Okay, shall we have a small break? Okay, shall we start? Shall we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right, let's go through the general guidelines. I given some general guideline regarding this today's project proposal. Now, this preparing project report is a compulsory. It's a part of the examination. Okay. Now, there are two types of examination we are conducting. One is open book examination and it's a closed book examination. Now, this project report and assignment are open book examinations. Okay, so these marks will be added to the final marking system when you calculate your grading. So there will be a discussion paper, diploma in this project proposal, carries 20 marks, complete 20 marks. So if you take other written examinations, it will be proportionate. Okay, it will be proportionate to 80 marks. There are two papers. At two papers, 200 into, again, it has been evaluated for, weighted for 70 marks. 10 marks for the assignment, 20 marks for the project report. That's how it can be calculated for the final results. So it is therefore it is compulsory to write this project report. Is a compulsory. Fails to submit on or before the due date will not eligible for the diploma certificate. So certificate will be given only when this project report is submitted. Okay. Now, although you have completed examination without the project report, your diploma will not be completed. So you have to do it again. Okay. The objectives of this diploma, this project report is there are broadly I had developed to develop skills and knowledge in analyzing a project or feasibility report submitted by the clients. The customer, clients, they are supposed to prepare this project report and submit to the bank. We are not preparing, normally we are not preparing any project report for the customer unless there is a special requirement from the management. Normally we are not doing. What we do is, we evaluate the, we analyze the project report, what have been to by the customer and the feasibility report and see whether this is bankable, that proposal is the bankable, whether it can grant a facility. And that to do that analysis, we should know what are the contents in a feasibility report, how the customer should prepare the project report. We should know that. So in that context only, we are asking you to prepare this project report. Okay. To evaluate students' ability to analyze a project proposal in depth, applying the techniques, concept, and theories learned in the course. Now, the other objective of this project report is from day one from this project, this course, Diploma and Credit Management course, you will learn a lot of techniques, that is analyzing the new techniques we had decided, concept we had discussed, theories, learning theories we discussed, and accounting techniques, the different approaches, type of customer, different approaches, different products, how to structure all this we discuss. So what we try to evaluate your ability to do the credit proposal, analyze using these techniques. To what extent you are using these techniques in the course, what learned in the course. That is the second objective of this project report. To develop skills in preparation of reports to higher management, recommending credit proposals. This is the other very important part is to prepare a project report to the higher management, recommending a credit proposal, recommending your credit proposals. So you know that your credit proposal go to higher management, not approved at once. So twice, sometimes 4 or 5 times, you rejected. Why is rejected? The reason is the information required by the management, it is not given in your proposal, in your memorandum. Memorandum and the credit proposal shall be included. What is a credit proposal memorandum? So all the credit managers does not have delegated authority to grant a facility. So if it becomes a large facility, it has to be given to the high management. What you try to do is by this project report is the higher management not seen your customer. Management not seen, but you know the customer. You are this your customer in the branch, you know full A to Z, you know what about the customer. Now you try to convince the management about the customer. Your picture of the customer through your project report in the memorandum. Okay. So to what extent your success in picturizing the customer to the management will be success here, the proposal. That is what the important part is in this writing. We are trying to develop this skill for with you all. Okay, so in my slide also I have given this. So what are the contents of the project reports? The first one is firstly the executive summary or abstract overview of the entire project. The entire project, when you have to analyze it, the nutshell, the summary, the analysis, and your findings and your recommendation in one page. In the front page, here you have an executive summary. So the reader, whoever reads that executive summary, knows to what extent you have been analyzed this project. How you have analyzed that it being given in the summary. So the executive summary is very important because by reading the executive summary, the reader will decide whether to going to be continue reading the one. So any information needed about the other development, so internally everything is available. This is in a nutshell, the summary form, in one page, the entire project, your report has to be given. Right, next chapter will be the introduction of the proposal. What is this proposal? I will discuss this proposal next. I will now. It is the manufacturing, customer want to manufacture tiles. So already I given you the project proposal, they will manufacture tiles. So you give about the proposal, the customer, who is the customer, and what is the proposal, what is his background, why is he asking this proposal, that in the not lengthily, in one page or half a page, you give the proposal. Right. Next one is, next chapter will be the overall industry. What is the industry? Tile industry. So the tile trade industry in Sri Lanka. What is the position? How was in the past? What is the present position? And what could be the future in industry position? Okay, so you have to get information internally, externally. For that, you may use the information about the industry size of the information from the other external sources like Central Bank report, statistics, Department of Census and Statistics, customs, okay, and websites. Now, information available, these three factors, Central Bank, customs, and in the statistics department, information available about the industry. What is the industry? How much of production in the country? How much of imports? What are the exports? Whether any export, how much of export to what countries have been export? From which country they are importing? What are the raw material used? The availability of raw material in the country? Right? Different types of tiles, floor tiles. Specifically talking about floor tiles. Okay, so the overall industry position we analyze. So that has to be supported by documentary on the Central Bank report is available, and the Census and Statistics Department latest report is available about the tile industry, ceramics and tile industry, and export customs regarding the import and export position. How much have we imported? What is the value? What's the cost? Then, what is the present position of the industry in Sri Lanka? This industry, what's the present position? Right? What are the government policies? What are the government decisions? What the impact on the policies? So, how many businessmen? What is the competitive position? Or how many people are in the industry? Are the leading people? And there are different levels of people are there, different levels of business. Yeah, so in the overall industry, you have to get it that find out, right? How many competitors are in the market? Who are the manufacturers? Who are the importers? Right. So what the requirement of the country for a year? How much needed? What is the production level? Is there a demand for this product? Okay, and the present position with the government restrictions with the ID. And with that, how to divert the business into certain other products. What are the alternative products available other than the tiles? Okay, then analysis of the product. What's the product or the project? Specifically the project and the product. Product is manufacturing tiles. What is the tile? Its background, and what are the sizes of tiles, and what are the prices of tiles, right? What are rates? Who are the suppliers? Who are the buyers? Right? So what's the size of buyers? Market size. Then comes to the next chapter will be the promoters, their background and their professional qualification, experience, etc. So I haven't given any information about this. So you can ignore that, or you can just write down something about the owners of the imaginary this thing is all right. Okay. So then most of the instances what I see in the past, when you're talking about promoters and their background and their professional qualification, most of our candidates who wrote up in the past semesters, they are referring this as a professional, MSc, MBA, right? All this technically qualified, marketing qualified, large, big qualified people as promoters. In the use, practically in the market, all these businessmen are professionally qualified. Without MBA, you can't do a business. Without MSc, you can't do a business. Some are qualified in foreign universities. Out of this. So those are not relevant. It should be practical to our environment. Okay? Right. Then existing status of the business. What is the existing activity, product line, area of market, etc. So you try to find out what is the business present position? That is financial analysis, in interpretation of financial stability of the company, right? Financial analysis, ratios, and interpret the ratios. What we are discussing in the class is all these things and what it tells us. And come to your conclusions or the judgment using this information of financial stability. You comment on the financial stability. Based on that, whether the project is viable or not, is one of the factors. Right? Then internal and external environment analysis, SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the proposed project. What are the strengths? What are the strengths may project viable in to viable this project? What are the strengths to get this customer viable in me particular customer viable in the industry? What are the strengths? And what are the weaknesses in this customer? What are the weaknesses in this environment? What are the opportunities available in the market? What are threats in the market? So internal factors, external factors has to be analyzed carefully. Then comes to the environmental analysis, that is PESTEL. The political influences, political decisions, political interference. Then economical interference, economical factors, anything affecting this industry. Then social factors, social influences affecting this particular project. Then technical analysis, technical knowledge, what is the technical requirement, right, whether it's available, right, that analysis. Then environmental analysis, right, what is the environment, whether another physical environment of the environment, whether applicable to this. And the legal sector, what are the legal requirements to do this, to viability of this project. Right, once you analyze all these things, one by one, chapter by chapter, then you have to come to your conclusions. Based on your analysis, you have to do your conclusion. And come to conclusion and the decision, recommendation, based on the analysis. So finally, the customer asks certain facilities. Customer already exists using certain facilities. Certain environmental factors are there. Taking all this into consideration, whether you are recommending this facility or not. If you are recommending this facility, what are the reasons you are recommending this facility? What are the common reasons? What are the specific reasons for particular this customer? Common reasons and particular for this customer, why you are recommending this. Secondly, your recommendation has to be there whether you are recommending this facility or not to the management. And finally, the references and bibliography. That means what are the references you have taken, what are the websites you have referred, what are the books you have referred, what are the material you have referred, right? What are the sometimes magazines and other things about regarding this subject what you have referred. Any customer you have interviewed about this matter, right? So information about that, all information about has to be included in your bibliography. Right? Okay, the project should not be exceed more than 2,500 words. Within that, you have tried to limit the years. Okay, so this is the general guideline for preparing this project report. Keep in mind, very important thing, this is not a rule. Right? You put all these topics and try to fill this, to fill something to these topics. This is a guideline only. You have to follow, you may follow the guidelines, that's all. So these are information to be incorporated in your report. It is not necessary to follow these steps one by one heading ලාගෙන මේකම ලියාගෙන යන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. Okay, right. Any questions? Okay, let's go to the other topic. Go to the project proposal. Okay, this year's project proposal. Let's go through. Cirilak Tiles Private Limited, prime customer of your bank, is one of the leading supplier for local market. Tile supplier for local market. Okay, they import quality tiles from India and China. Due to prevailing economic crisis situation in the country, restrictions were imposed on importing tiles by the government. There's heavy demand for their products. To meet this demand, the board of directors of the company has approved to establish a manufacturing plant in international standard. A term loan of rupees 6 million was granted in 2020 for the construction of the factory and importing machinery for the manufacturing plant. Even though existing facilities were not serviced, the bank has given moratorium till the manufacturing is commenced in September 2021. The existing facilities to be rescheduled. Okay. Present position in company figures loan has not been settled service properly, so the bank has given moratorium till September 2021 till the commencement manufacturing is commenced and after the period of grace period. So that's how you are given grace period. The overdraft and the term loan are secured by mortgage over land and building owned by Dcs Tiles Private Limited, where tiles are manufactured and stored. The value of land and building is rupees 225 million and mortgage to the bank for 135 million. Okay. The company revalued their land and building in March 2021 after the expansion. The increased values is recorded in 2020 financial statements. The board of directors has approved to obtain an additional facility of rupees 100 million to meet the working capital requirement. They also expect leasing facility of around 25 million to strengthen their transportation aspect of the business. In order to meet these financial requirements, Finance Bank has submitted the following audited financial statement for the year 2019, 20 and 21 for your consideration. So now, this proposal is in your table. Summarized income statement is given. 2019, 2020, 2021. Okay. The figures are given: turnover 256 million, 140 million, 180 million. Cost of sales 124 million, 111 million, 97 million. Gross profit 131 million, 103 million, 82 million. Expenses 60 million, 50 million, 42 million. Then other interest expenses 19 million, 30 million, 19 million. Therefore, final profit before taxes 51 million, 22 million, 20 million. Taxes 9 million, 7 million, 4 million. So because the company have paid dividends 15 million in 2019, 15 million today, and 7.5 million in 21. So finally, profit taken forward 45 million in 2019, then 46 million 2020, and 55 million 2021. Okay, the balance sheet is given. Land and building 225 million, 225 million, and 240 million is increased. Furniture equipments 5.4 million, 9 million, and 18 million. In inventory 11 million, 8 million, 5 million. Trade receivables 6 million, 2 million, 8 million. Cash in hand 21 million, 14 million, 5 million. Then equity 90 million. Revenue reserve 2021 15 million. So the equity and liabilities 135 million, 136 million, 160 million. Term loan 63 million, 59 million, and 72 million. Trade payable 16 million, 22 million, 18 million. Bank overdraft 53 million, 42 million, and 27 million. So total is 45 million, 64 million, and 70 million accordingly. Okay, now what we have to do is, I think the second part is not there. Finally, okay, now what we have to do is analyze this customer's requirement using those information. So what is the basic guidelines I given to you? What is the interaction? What is the interaction? What is his business? Right? His business is Sirilak Tiles Private Limited, which is importing tiles and from China and India. They are the basic business. And now they wanted to start manufacturing tiles in Sri Lanka. So now we have to analyze the information about the industry. What is the industry? I could give you information about that in the general guideline. So what are the important factors to be taken into consideration? From where to get the information, right? About the industry, right? About the imports, how much of tiles are imported to Sri Lanka during the years, how much of foreign exchange are import. So you can get that information on the customs website, and also from the Chamber of Commerce also has that information, and from the Census and Statistics Department, they also make this information. So you have to prepare your project proposal, analyzing under that guidelines which are given in the guidelines, and prepare your financial your proposed project proposal. Finally, you have to go recommendation. Customer already having a facility of is there in the balance sheet, 72 million term loan, and 27 million of bank overdraft. Already they are existing. So the Customer asked him to extend the facility of 100 million to meet the working capital requirement. Now we had to analyze and work out and see in the market conditions whether this 100 million we are recommending. What is the basis? What is the basis of recommending this working capital? Yeah? Anybody?
Property, mortgage property.
Yeah? Now, there are certain informations are missing here. Okay? Certain informations are not given in the project proposal. So you have to find those things. What are those things? Cost of production has not given you. Without the cost of production, can you work out the working capital requirement? So you have to find out that, okay? Cost of production, what is the raw material cost? What is the labor cost? And those estimations has to be prepared. Based on that, you have to tell that this 100 million is sufficient or not sufficient. Whether you accept it or not. But our idea is whenever customer gives a proposal, we are not going to accept as it is. We analyze and see whether sufficient or sometimes customer may ask for lesser amount, then thereafter what will happen? We have to increase the facility time to time every day. So we have to prepare board papers every day. So cumbersome job for us. So once and for all we prepare a what you call by proposal. This is not sufficient. You recommend mention that this amount is not sufficient. It has to be increased. Okay. Right. Then what is the risk factor? Now, yeah, I had not mentioned in the project guidelines about the risk. So what are the risks? Market risk, product risk, technical risk, right? Strategic risk, individual relating to this project. And evaluate and analyze what are the risk factors and what are your proposal to mitigate the risk. Okay. Then the viability of the project. Right? Viability of the project, you have to use certain techniques what we have already discussed. What are techniques? How long you are proposing this facility? They are not given here anything. 100 million working capital, what type of a facility you are granting? Right? It's a short-term loan, medium-term loan, or a revolving facility. Right? Based on the, you have to do a cash flow projection. So the sales has to be determined. Right? The sale, what would be the sales? And future sales, projected sales after starting the manufacturing, starting this manufacturing process. What are the raw material needed? What are the cost of raw material? What is the production cost? And how much of working capital requirement? Okay, so that information are not given, right? Case of Kianipa, maybe Samahara, all the information we are not giving. You have to find out those information from the environment and marketing. So then what is the project viability? Right? Must have already invested in the machinery and we have to work out NPV techniques, payback method, how long facility to be needed, what type of facility and how long it will be needed. Okay, so those things I have not given, so you have to find out those things and prepare it. Right? Okay, any questions? Menak will tell when to begin. Only 1 month time is given. Today's 27th. So I think before the examination, you have to hand over the project report. And most probably 20. th of March. Okay. Project report has to be submitted on or before 20th of March. Okay, any questions?
Sir, it's mentioned 3rd April.
3rd April.
Yes, sir.
You are given the date?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then okay, 3rd April. Normally you give only 1 month. Right. So then the closing date before 3rd April, you have to submit the hand over the hard copy to the office. Anything else?
ඒක මේල් එකේ එවන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ පෝස්ට් එකේ එවන්න පුළුවන්ද අපිට?
Post එක එවන්න පුළුවන්. Post එක එවන්න පුළුවන්, courier කරන්නත් පුළුවන්.
හා. එතකොට සර් එක්සෑම්ස් කොයි කාලේ වගේද වෙන්නේ අපිට?
ඒකත් එක්ක මේ period එක exam එක වෙන්නේ. මේ weekend එකේ exam එක පටන් ගන්න. මයිත අවුරුද්ද පහුවෙලාද ඉස්සරහට මේක කියනවා අහන්න ඕනේ. This is my last session again. Next week we are starting the recovery management program. Okay. Recovery පටන් ගත්තම අපිට 3 weeks යනවා ඒකට. 1 minute. Calendar. So 20th එනකොට මේ ඉවරයි. Then you are given one, two, three. Twenty-seventh of March, the course will be over. So most probably first week of April or after the New Year. Maybe 17 sometime. Okay. So the examination date will be notified by the office. So get ready for that. Pastor Mohud there? Revision sessions will not be, normally we are not conducting revision sessions, but if you want, you can request from the management to conduct a revision session. Normally after the courses, the final module will be recovery management. That will be started next week. until it goes to 27th of March, or sometime maybe 20th March, and I finish 20th March, so then there will be 1 month in between for you to have studies. Any other questions?
So is it possible to contact yourself if we need any help during the doing this project report?
Yes, sure. You contact me 071 306 9515.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime you can call me for any clarification, any information anything needed, further advice, I'll help you.
Sir, can you repeat again contact number?
07, I put on the board.
Zero 071 306 9515.
Yeah.